their information?
Yeah, I gave them our break, the filled out their form and
Huh.
with our.
Okay.
Yeah, but then they all of a sudden check showed up and.
If you guys
But
ever-
they sent it to Gold Wall.
You ever send them the list of pictures and come?
Actually, I asked them to send it to me. Yeah, it's always.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm glad we found that. That was happening for about a week, passing around. This is mine. Yeah.
It's not your responsibility.
It's funny, huh? No. Yeah, probably not.
And last year, at least said,
Yeah,
because they said like, up in the description, it does say sponsor. So I think Gold Cross called. Then a couple people say call.
Well, what probably happened is Gold Cross.
Exactly right. Because it doesn't say. Oh, okay. It says, it's not like you're getting tickets. This is the second year in a row they've done that, so next year.
That's nice of this. There you go.
Reading.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like.
Kind of matter. Just flying off.
Keep dinging on there. Keeps telling me the date and time for it. So I don't know what these are. Yes, all of a sudden I say, today it's 4.
Just a reminder.
The silence or something.
No verifications. They seem to
Okay, we'd like to welcome everyone and call to order the study meeting of the West Valley City Council. It is August 27th, 2024. We're beginning our meeting at 4:30 p.m. in the multi-purpose room of West Valley City Hall. We have all members of the council present, Councilman Christensen online. We have Councilman Norfelt, Councilman Hune, Councilman Fitzsimmons, Councilman Whetstone, Councilman Harmon, myself. We're also joined at the table with our city manager, Mr. Peely, and our city recorder, Ms. Kamick. We'll begin tonight with our minutes of August 20th, 24. Turn those to the council for discussion or a motion.
Move for approval of those minutes.
second.
Thank you. We have a motion and second. All in favor, please say aye. And any opposed? I can't see Don anymore. Is he still there?
He disconnected.
Okay, hopefully he'll be back. All right, we'll go to our regular meeting for this evening. Do we have any changes?
We do have one minor change that I believe Mr. Flores will present.
We'll turn the time to Mr. Flores to go over those changes with us.
Yes, thank you. So it's just a simple change, but obviously wanted to make you aware. I talked about the change in the nepotism policy, more specifically as it refers to public safety. And in one of the lines there, we indicated family member and household member. And we did not want to include household member on there. The biggest reason we typically have police officers that three of them may get together and say, let's rent out a place, and then it's cheaper for us, and that policy would not allow them to do that, which we didn't intend to do. So pretty simple change. Just wanted to let you know and see if anybody has any questions.
Any questions on that change?
Okay, thank you.
Were there any questions or concerns on the agenda tonight from the council? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to our public hearing scheduled for next week. Application Z5 2024. And we'll turn that over to Mr. Pastrick.
Thank you, Mayor. So I'll pull up our usual presentation here. All right, so this is a request from Mountain America Credit Union to rezone just under an acre of property, two parcels, 5517 and 5541 west, 4100 south. Current zoning is agriculture, and the requested zoning is the C1 zone. And just for reference, the property to the west, which is the CVS, is also zoned C1. Property, even though this image shows a house, it's actually all vacant. So the two homes that were on the property have since been demolished. This image here shows the intended use. So Mountain America does want to build a branch on this property. So just looking at the concept, you'd have the building here, parking behind that, and then the drive up behind that. That would be close to the canal that's along the south side of the property. And then this driveway here actually is existing, so that allows the CVS patrons right now to be able to exit here onto 4100 South. We just included for reference, this is the site plan actually for the CVS. And the thing I wanted to point out here is that it's a little unusual that the property line here and next door goes out to the middle of the canal. And so normally you would have the wall be on the property line. Well, can't do that in this case. So they ended up kind of putting the wall a little bit further north outside of it. So it's outside of the canal space. We do the similar approach on this site, assuming this is approved. And then just a few pictures here. So this is looking south across 4100. So you can see that driveway that extends further west. This is looking southwest towards CVS, west on 41, the CVS itself. This is looking west along that kind of shared driveway that would go in front of this property, or that exists in front of this property, I should say. And then this is looking from the property across, or looking to the north to the homes across the street on 41. And that's all the images we have. So again, summary, it's rezoning the property from the A zone to the C1 zone to accommodate a new credit union.
Any questions for Mr. Pastrick? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And then we'll move on to application Z 2024 and turn the time over to Mr. Pastrick.
Thank you. So this request from Shivam Shah is to rezone this property at 5718 West 35th South from the light industrial or LI zone to the C3 zone. And so you can see here the property outlined in red. Here's a closer up view. So this property is kind of sandwiched between the Mountain View corridor, and then you have a number of uses here on the east side. You've got Alpine Storage, what was the old Kmart. You have Salt Lake Community College, also Vasa Fitness, and a few other kind of retail uses in between. Then just for reference, you have Walmart here, and then this is actually a detention, stormwater detention area. The property actually is developed, so this image doesn't show it, but this property was rezoned to the light industrial zone a few years ago, and this site now has essentially what I would call a flex industrial building on it. So it was designed to have multiple tenants, and I'll just show some images here. So this is looking north. So the building on the left that has the gray and the green is the building in question. And then the one on the right is the existing building where we have the community college and some of those other uses like Vasa. again, looking north, so you can see the division between the two properties. This is on the east side of the property. This is looking south, so that building out in the distance is the 7-Eleven that fronts on 35th South. This is more towards the north side of the property, but looking south. This is looking west along the north side of the building. This is the west side of the building, so Mountain View Quarter is there on the right side of the image. And that's all the images. So the idea here is you have the light industrial zone, which really when we first put it in place back in 2016 was in some ways tailor-made for the salvage yard area along 5600 West that goes back a few years. And so it allows some industrial uses, but it's actually pretty restrictive when it comes to retail uses. And so they're asking in this case for the C3 zone, which is kind of in between a C2 zone and an M zone, and it allows retail uses, but it also allows things like light industrial or warehousing, but you can't do things outside. So everything still has to be inside the building. One of the things that in particular why they're asking for this change of zoning from C3 to light industrial is that the light industrial zone does not allow any kind of automotive type uses. And they do have interest from folks to do like glass repair or like window tinting and things like that, which again, currently that's based on the current zoning is not allowed. But by going to C3, that gives them more tenant options for this building. So really that's the intent is the C3 zone in many cases allows uses like auto repair or retail uses that the light industrial zone does not allow. So they're asking for that change to have more options for tenants. And in your packet, we have a copy of the code where we highlight the differences between which uses are allowed in, for example, the C3, but not in the LI zone.
Okay, any questions from the council?
Seems like some of the C3 allowed uses wouldn't fit here just because there's not enough parking. Do they have to meet that too to get a business license?
Absolutely. So we, in any multi-tenant building scenario, we look at the total parking and then the tenant mix and basically keep track of that to know if they have sufficient parking to have a certain tenant. So in some cases, even though the zoning may allow a use, the parking will basically limit that. So a common thing is, for example, and I don't see a restaurant going here, but as an example, in a strip mall, restaurants are one of the uses that require the most parking. And so sometimes strip malls may be limited to how much of their building can be restaurants just simply based on how much parking they have.
So are there any of the uses that staff just feels like wouldn't be applicable here? That would be a nuisance?
In my view, going back to this image here, this site's pretty insulated, right? There's no residential neighbors. I mean, about the only view you have from the site is going as John and I were just discussing, going about 60 miles an hour along Mountain View Corridor, right? So it's, as long as they, again, meet the parking requirements, personally, I'm not too worried just because it's kind of tucked in behind things. And I don't see it being a nuisance to neighbors that way.
Thanks. Thank you.
They mentioned the hardware store. What are the parking requirements for a hardware store?
If memory serves, I think it's like 4 per 1,000, but that's probably not, probably unlikely you would get that. I think it's more likely you would have, the examples I gave earlier where someone has like a small glass repair shop where, you know, having that visibility isn't as important. But like a typical retailer's probably not gonna go in here just because it's kind of behind things and you just don't have very good visibility.
Be more of a destination, not a drive-by. Ooh, look, that looks cool.
Right.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, we'll go to our resolutions and we'll turn the time over to Chief Evans for the purchase of 2 ambulances. And then we'll let him just stay up there and resolution 24-135 for the stretchers.
Afternoon, yeah, they're both kind of hooked. Can't do one without the other. So about 3 months ago, we came to the council and ordered 2 chassis from Ford for some new ambulances. And now it's time to build the boxes for the back of them. These 2 ambulances will probably still be about 12 months out to 14 months before we can even get them. The reason we're doing it now is we can lock the price in, the current pricing, and they'll guarantee that price. So I think it's a good idea. These 2 units will replace one that's 2015 and a 2016 ambulance. So we'll be replacing some older ambulances. So this company is the ambulance that we've used since we started the ambulance service. We've never went with anybody else. Fraser Ambulances out of Houston, Texas.
Hey, any questions?
What'll be the disposition of the previous models?
They'll put them to surplus. A lot of miles on them, not, you know, it's, don't know what you'll get. They'll just go to auctions. The next one is the stretchers. The reason we do this is we can save probably close to $10,000 if we buy the stretchers ourselves direct from the company. And then we just ship them to Fraser and they install them in the ambulance. So that's the reason we buy the stretchers different. The price on these looks a little high. It's not just the cot. This is the lift system that puts the stretchers into the ambulances also. So it's 2 things that we buy, the lift system and the stretcher.
And that lift system just helps our officers not injure their backs as easily?
Yeah, once they get it up, the lift system will pull it into the box itself.
Hey, any questions on this one? Pretty easy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Does the council have any objection to adding these 2 resolutions to our consent agenda next week in the regular meeting?
They're both pretty high dollar amounts. I think we should just vote on them separately.
Okay. Okay, so we'll read them as resolutions then. Okay, to our communications, our council calendar. Anybody have any questions or concerns? Okay. We'll go to our potential future agenda items. Anybody have anything?
Well. Yeah. I'm just looking at the clock and I'm thinking, yeah. I'd like to discuss, how often we have these meetings. If we adjust our schedule so that we don't bring staff. Look at all the staff here. And we're gonna be done in 10 more minutes, and then they're gonna sit around and wait for another hour and a half for our next meeting, and that's very efficient. So if there's anyone that's interested in discussing or, what our next step is, if we want to go that route. I'm interested.
I know I brought this up in June and there wasn't a lot of enthusiasm for it, but maybe the lack of business has changed some minds, so. Any other thoughts?
I do have this item scheduled on the third. I believe Dawn brought it up a few weeks ago as well, and the council at that time had agreed to discuss it. I just haven't gotten it on the schedule yet, but I do have it scheduled for the third for discussion, just.
Okay, that's what I'm gonna say too.
When we discuss it, could you have, tell us what all the large cities in Utah are doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I already have that data, so I can provide that. Yep.
Okay, perfect. I had one thing, I've had a lot of people reach out personally about the noise, the late night parties. And I don't know if we can get a report as to how we could visit those residents in a timely manner and maybe start shutting them down so that it doesn't keep growing, it shrinks. Even if we have a temporary task force of 3 officers that just attack it 8 to midnight on Fridays and Saturdays, something. Is anybody else interested in looking into that?
Interested in that only because I've tried calling non-emergency on some of those and actually just walk over to neighbors and, say, hey, turn it down. I don't want to be the Karen, sorry, Karen. And sometimes it's people from the neighborhood have called me and said, look, I'm ready to call the cops, if.
Yeah.
And so just going over there and just introducing myself and, saying, hey, by the way, we have this law, 10 o'clock is kind of a thing. Unless you want the neighbors to call the cops, that might be. But yeah, I've had issues twice with calling and just nobody ever picking up, actually. It is 1 a.m, right? So I get that, but
Oh, true.
it would be interesting. I'd be interested in talking about how we can address that too.
Yeah, I'm interested in that one too.
Okay,
It seems like growing now, it's not in just a few, but multiple places around the city. And I think it's we need to have our own phone number. And like city number, so we can reach out effectively. Yeah. But 911 won't work, other number it won't work, takes so long. Maybe we can do like Lee Russell he mentioned about long ago. I think that's a good idea. He said just designate the officer into that beat. We have 8 beats in our city and designate as one of particular, officer in that beat. And then something like this happen, they can move quickly. Yeah.
I know when my brother bought his house in South Salt Lake, the realtor told him specifically, South Salt Lake does not allow any noise to leave your residence any time of day, but at night especially. So if you're gonna buy a house here, just know you have to be quiet. And it wouldn't be bad to have that reputation here either. So he appreciated it and actually wanted to buy the house after he told him that, so. Okay, well, if we can look into that one. Any others?
I have one, but I don't know. Maybe I want to share with you. This my last one. But I want to share with you. I ran into a couple vendors around here in our city. I think like maybe we can copy their model to increase our sales tax, and also we create a vast advisory board in our city. For instance, like I go to Cafe Rio, I got in there with my family, and I can go into the city website. I plug it in, Tom Wood, my address, my phone number, my email, and I put in there in the West Valley City website, and we'll go into our system. And we have like weekly lottery. So whoever, basically, number of customer spend money or vendors high number, for example, like Cafe Rio have 100 people customer for that week, more than Olive Garden or something like that, and they will have a monthly award. And that will create a vast majority of people in our city to spend money into our city, go out and buy, and then dine and shopping, things like that. And we can category grocery store the ones, and then like restaurant is the one second, something like that. So they can go and cut that order so they can compete each other. And if in the future we want to send out a survey system, and we have a huge database in our city, and we just send out, so hey, I have a couple of questions, A, B, C, and X, Y, Z. Can you give me the feedback? And they send in, and we can have a lottery. So, well, 5 people send in first. Each one of you got $100. And then so 5 of them to $500. It won't cost us that much, because I do some calculation. It's about $10,000, below $10,000 a year to kind of do award for these people. And I think it's that we encourage people to go out and do things, shop, dine in our city, buy stuff. We increase the sales tax. We have a vast database. We have a big, adversary force, adversary here in our city. So I think there's I don't know, maybe give me feedback, but I think there's some store, they do that, I think very good. I come by very often. So, well, let me plug in my number so I can get the free drink. So can I get this one so I can get a free pizza next time, something like that. So that's very good. I mean, that's awesome. Yeah, they increase the sale. Yeah, so I don't know. We send the same model, the same copy, we use it for the whole city to put in a website, and then we go home, I get the receipt, and I put my receipt in there, yes, right here, Cafe Rio, and my name, my address, and my phone number go into the system. And I wait for a Saturday or Sunday or maybe Monday, I have a lottery, city have a lottery, 5 people who the winner will have $100 again for go back to Cafe Rio or go back to Olive Garden. So I think it's a wonderful thing to do, increase the tax sale and create a big, huge database in that city.
Okay, thank you.
So I did want to hear from you guys.
Sorry, I'm not clear on the concept, but what exactly is the program you're proposing?
The concept is just simple. I think that just the city just set up a system in our website, and people, they have a receipt and they go back to our website to plug into our contact information. And then every week we have a lottery. We pick up our 5 people who are 5 first people, and we can give them $100 for each lottery. So 5 people, $500 for each week. And that will encourage people go out and shop and dine, have dinner in our city. So we increase the number of sales in the city, and we also create a big database in our city. Yeah, if we have something in the future, so well, I like ABC area, and I want you to give me a feedback about ABC area. And we have a big database, and they send in. And so will give me the first 5 come in, I will give you, lottery for $100 for a piece. And I think that encourage people to go out, to shopping in a city, dine in our city, doing things in our city. And also the same thing that we increase the sales tax, and we have a good number of people participation. So we have a big database. And to be honest with you, a few stores here in our city, they do that, and they do very successfully. I I come back very often. So, well, I want to have a free drink. I said, Tom, you have a free drink. Your turn now. So, oh, really? It's great. So you can take anything you like, and then you come over here and let me know. Okay,
Is the goal to have more contact with the citizens,
right.
or is it to give away some freebies to the, I mean, you know, some like lottery, you're saying giving away $500. What's the goal behind?
I think kind of $500. It's kind of a bait, but the whole story behind this game is kind of like we get a vast majority of database in our city when we need them.
We get a database that we can use
You can use them.
in other ways. We probably, just saying, probably have a bunch of emails with the fitness center. If that's what you want to do, maybe we could figure out a way to do that, but, we could use that as some marketing. I don't know. I'm just trying to
Yeah.
take a
Also,
spin off of what you brought up. so.
also, we encourage them to spend money in our city. And as a help, the vendor encourage them because if they sell a lot in that month or that week, they can come here to our city. Public hearing, we can give them a monthly award. So encourage them. There's a lot of things going on here. It's not only for one item. Yeah.
I don't know if it would hurt to just brainstorm on ideas on how to increase sales in our city. I think Mr. Peely had some ideas that you were tossing around just to increase commerce in our city. I don't know if that would be one potential idea. I don't know the legality of holding a lottery, but
I mean, couldn't call it a lot.
No, I mean, the lottery, I mean,
Drawing.
that's right, that's right.
Or
Thank
reward
you.
system.
not a lot.
Thank you,
Let's go lotto.
I
Well-
appreciate that, Norfeld. I mean, lost. That you lottery, I mean, kind of like gambling and all, yeah, that's wrong, that, yeah, that we use.
Well, and I know Taylorsville does a shop local around the holidays. That they give out a certain amount of bucks for you to go shop local. I don't know the full details of their program, but maybe something like that would help as well. And I don't know if they do it through the chamber or on their own. So we can maybe look into that. Because to me, it's depending on what our goal is, it might be a chamber event thing, or if the goal is to have more interaction and be able to poll the residents to get the database. Just depends on which one would be the most useful to the city.
Yeah, and then like this one, like, we have multiple items here. Database also we encourage people to spend their money in our city. Yeah. And that increase our sales tax. And that, it's a good thing, good thing.
Man, one thing Jonathan and I have talked about is a sales tax leakage study. I think that's a good place to start. Then we can know where our people are shopping currently, how much is going out, where they're dining, where they're, going to buy groceries, how many people are coming in. And see, we can identify specific problem areas that we can, so if whatever solution we come up with or whatever program we have, it can be targeted toward specific problems that we know. Like if people are dining here but going elsewhere to buy vehicles, it'll show us that, and it or it can come back and say that we're pulling in more than what we, we're drawing in from the other cities. But it'll give us a good picture of where we are, like what problems we have and any opportunities we have to expand that. So I think a leakage study would be good. And then we can have the programming, like I said, it could be specific to, can even get it down more dialed in, specific to, again, maybe it's restaurants to start with. Maybe it's if we're losing people dining outside, we can focus on restaurants. We can focus on if you eat in the city of West Valley, I know there's all kinds of programming that chambers do for that. I mean, restaurants come to mind because they've done I I heard we've done something similar here, like a food tour or something. But we're looking into a sales tax leakage study so we can know exactly what's happening with our sales tax.
Is that an assessment that can be conducted internally, or does that require an outside vendor or contractor?
Most of the time it is an outside firm. There's some firms that are pretty well known for it. I'm almost certain we can, our economic development staff could probably do it, but I think there's consultants that do this specifically. We have a database that gives us some detail. No, there's some, we're gonna look at that first to see if that's enough for us. But Jonathan and his team can pull something together out of this database that we do have, but if we want a full-on leakage study, most of the time we hire out for that.
At least to me, that seems like a prudent approach, because to Councilman Yoon's point, I'm certainly not opposed to any creative, interventions to try to drum up more business and support our local businesses and patronage of our local businesses, but would be good to have some evidence base to inform how we do that.
Oh, here I will share with you this story. I won't name the city. Certain cities in California, they are running into a big problem with the sales tax. Why? Because people, they go, the patrons, they go to the restaurant or store, they pay cash. And when they pay cash, no sales tax. And the sales tax going down the hill. City try to figure out multiple ways to encourage people. We cannot go out and say, well, you pay, cash. Well, I can pay cash, I pay credit card. But they take cash. And they apply this. Fight back with that. The trends going down, the sales tax is going down badly. They apply this program and they fight back very good. Yeah. So they say, well, if you take my cash, I'm not gonna come back here because the city help me out. If I got drowning, I can get $100 or $200 and go back here. I can shop at the store. So that's the big argument, and that's very successful. Yeah.
Even if they're paying cash, though, they should still be
Yeah,
sales tax should still be charged and
paid.
paid, yeah.
But here, some store, when you pay cash, they don't add in the sales tax on top of that.
And they're not.
breaking the law.
They're
They're breaking the law, that's right.
Okay.
But you cannot go over there. Police have to patrol every store and they stand right there and then that's, oh, you're doing the right thing, or you're doing the wrong thing. We don't have the manpower to do that. That's the problem.
Okay. Any other potential future agenda items?
Mayor, I did have just a quick, I sent an email last week about the U City Council. They're doing a Bill of Rights reading on September 19th at 6:30, and they're just looking for speakers in both English and Spanish. If you're available or know someone that's available, then just let me know.
Okay, that works. All right, council reports.
Went to a couple block parties and went to my hometown fall festival and love my hometown. It's great. Appreciate all the service that they offer.
Did you do the climbing wall?
No, I didn't do the climbing.
The line was too long when
There
I
was
was
too many
there.
cameras around. I didn't
Oh.
want anybody to take film of that.
I had my cotton candy, but I did not do the wall. The line was too long. So I think they've been doing a great job on the neighborhood parties and the
Seriously.
CRCs. And we've got one almost every weekend now, so it's pretty good. We actually My hometown invited me to go with them today for an interview. So on the next Sunday and then the following Sunday, there'll be, KSL will have little interviews with us for my hometown, promoting the neighbors, getting involved more and things like that. So I thought it went really well. The interviewers, there was 2 different ones for 2 different programs and they were very good. So no hidden agenda. That was nice. Just promote our program, so. Okay.
Report, I think it might actually be a potential agenda item, so maybe communication, but there was a gentleman who had mentioned, and I just looked up a newspaper article, but the use of DOT has installed in like 59 state and then on 21 in Redwood, that new LiDAR, right? The laser beam, whatever
Heat
LiDAR
sensing.
stands for, you're correct. And not necessarily for enforcement, right? But they said it's like 99% better than radar for tracking speeding and that kind of thing. Because that's such a huge issue that we always talk about here, whether it's street racing or just dangerous driving on our streets. Just wondering if that's something we could tap into, or if it would even be useful, being that it's sort of experimental at this point, but just looking at different tools or options for assessing where we're at and potentially mitigating our issues around the traffic.
So in Murray, I think the news said their main focus is to extend the light if there's a pedestrian still in the
Right.
walkway. If they're a little slower or having problems getting across, it extends the light. So did you understand that it could capture license plates and?
I didn't go that deep into it,
Okay.
but definitely the imaging and, or even how they mentioned, for snow plows or extending lights if they're chasing,
okay.
like cops chasing people through lights and just trying to make things safer along that route too. But yeah, I don't know enough about it, but there was a very impassioned neighbor who talked about this at one of the parties and I just remember that now.
Okay, that might be something good to look into. Okay, thank you. Any other reports? Okay, we do have need for a closed session for disposition of real property. If someone would make that motion. And then we'll close, at the end of the closed meeting, we will adjourn and not have any other business afterwards.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Yes, Kevin.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu. Councilman Whitstone,
Yes.
Councilman Harmon, Councilman Hune,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfeld,
Yes.
and Mayor Ling.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, we'll give everybody about 5 minutes and then come back for that